this is the time for businesses to actually be looking at their business and getting involved and ready. I think everyone's got to understand that we're not going to go back to how we were. And then you can actually adapt even better. This is a whole new environment that none of us ever expected. Let's move with it.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Adapt series, brought to you by our team here at Nucleus. Today we're speaking with Tanya Cole, the CEO of the Hessel Group, who are a leading specialist in the delivery of early childhood services, both in and out of the home. Today, Tanya's going to be speaking with us about how families are adapting to having their children at home while they're working, and she discusses how these flexible working arrangements could be a big part of our future. As always, I'd like to start by asking you to click on the hashtag AdaptSA in this LinkedIn post and then click follow so that you can keep up to date with the stories that we're bringing you and review our past stories. So, without any further ado, let's hear what Tanya has to say. Tanya, it's great to have you joining us as part of the Adapt series, because we've been wanting your opinion on an interesting phenomenon that we've been coming across recently with working with people who are working from home. It seems every second or third video call, conference or meeting that there's an unexpected cameo of someone's children in the background, followed closely behind by that parent apologizing for their kids, and then everyone else in the meeting telling them that it's okay and that this is just normal for doing business at the moment. So my first question to you is, how do you think that the COVID-19 crisis is affecting people's perceptions of parenting in the corporate world?
Well, I think COVID-19 is certainly the new way forward for how families are going to adapt with having a new working life. I think at the start when everybody was going home, they were great. And then it was children are going to be at home. Oh no, what are we going to do? But as time's gone on, it's actually everyone's adapting really well. And you've got families that are getting up in the morning earlier and getting a whole pile of work out so they can do different activities with the children and help them. You know, they're not having to even drive into work, so they've got all that extra time that's available for them. Even though you might be working longer parts of the days, you've got breaks in between, and there's a big output that's coming through. And so I think for the future, it's going to be really exciting. And I think, 3 months ago, we would never have thought of it. And 3 months' time will probably be, wow, why did we actually go into the office every day? Why did we do that? So yeah, I think it's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, I know it's certainly made us as a staff discuss how we work moving forward, because some people are being more productive at home. And to your point, that whole commute time, some people are losing 2-3 hours a day in commute where they can just work straight from home. So yeah, very interesting. Now, the Morrison government a few weeks back made an announcement that childcare would be free for parents during the COVID crisis. Now, on the outside, that looks like an exceptional piece of support that the government's been giving us. But there's been concerns raised in the childcare sector that this would create a situation where it might not be viable for some childcare centres to stay open. So, in your opinion, do you believe there's been unintended consequences to that decision? And how do you think that will actually affect the childcare industry moving forward?
I mean, to think of it, who wouldn't want to have free childcare? It's a wonderful, wonderful idea and a wonderful concept. That's right. Everybody would want to have it. It's had a massive impact for everybody within the childcare industry. It was a decision that was made that obviously was knee-jerk, which is a pity. And it was done. It was actually a situation that occurred where nobody knew it was actually happening. And then all of a sudden it was saying to families, you're going to have free childcare. The problem's been is that the childcare centres there was a nominated fortnight where the government decided you could have this much money and that goes to the childcare centre. So for new centres or centres that were just opening up again for the new year, it was actually that fortnight. And so there was very few children, and COVID was just coming in. So children were being removed out. So some centres just will not survive. So at the moment, we've got families that childcare centres can't take them on for any more days because they don't get any extra money. We're not allowed, you just can't charge for it. So I think that they've really got to look at something much quicker. Parents all thought, wow, this is fantastic. And you're going to have some parents that are going, well, it's free. I'm going to have 60 hours of care now. we as an industry just can't afford that, because as a business, you just can't take on extra people when you don't get any money for it. It is a situation that hopefully they'll try and rectify very, very quickly, to try and support families and support educators, who really are very important for everybody to go back to work.
Yeah, as you've indicated, they're really essential workers because they keep the business world moving by looking after our most precious asset. So,
Absolutely.
in light of all this, what have the Hessel centres that you run been doing to adapt and prepare for the easing of restrictions, which some are calling the bounce back and others, maybe more accurately, are referring to as what's going to be our recovery phase?
Mm. Well, here at Hessel, we've been certainly looking at our business as one, but in the centres as such, we've been trying to keep connected with the children that are staying at home by doing Zoom with our senior educators, and they've been doing Zoom with the children, so that the children can all keep chatting and keep that socialisation up, which is really important even for mental health, to keep that socialisation up with children. We've also been looking at where we've identified some issues. So it's actually looking at the business, getting things in place and talking to staff about how we're going to change some of the positions that are here to be better structured, so that when everything starts coming back, we're actually ready. And it's actually really quite exciting, because once you identify things and you start doing that sweeping and cleaning, and not that I'm not saying getting rid of stuff, but you're actually re-looking at it and refocusing on your business. Because I think once we go forward, we've really got to go forward. It's actually, this is the time. This is the time, as far as I'm concerned, for businesses to actually be looking at their business and getting involved and ready.
100%, because there's a lot of talk about the fact that, we're not going to get a second crack at this, and there's so many businesses that are hanging on the edge of, are we going to be able to survive? So we really need to support each other and support local. So in light of that, and your experience, what would be your advice then to other business owners who are trying to adapt and then prepare for their recovery when the restrictions ease?
Well, I think everyone's got to understand that we're not going to go back to how we were. So what's the past is the past, and what the future is, we don't really know. But let's do the best that we possibly can, and then you can actually adapt even better. And maybe even looking more at this flexible working hours as well to go with it. You can actually feel the energy starting to happen out there with businesses, from the people I'm speaking to anyway.
Yeah, agreed. Exactly the same. We're hearing exactly the same thing from other businesses. There's a momentum starting to move. And I certainly know from your point, we're going to start looking at flexible hours and looking at things differently, because a lot of the things that have been happening at the moment have been really good and almost paradigm shifts. So look, I would just like to say to everyone listening, if you need help with your most precious asset, your children, please contact Tanya and the team at the Hessel Group. They can help you in-home, or they have childcare centres where they can look after your children while you work. So please reach out and make contact. But I'd like to end by asking Tanya, is there anything else you'd like to share with the people who are listening today?
I really think you just have to be ready to adapt. This is a whole new environment that none of us ever expected. Let's move with it. We're in it together, as they say. So let's just move it, and let's get this business all back up and running.
Excellent. And that's a really exciting way of looking at it. I really like that. We're in it together. Let's adapt. Tanya, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I look forward to seeing how the Hessel childcare centres develop as we come out of our restrictions at the moment.
Thanks very much, Brenton.
Have a great week.
Thank you.